Darkstar, I see in the news just about an hour ago, the 11 LIV players are suing the PGA Tour. Um, Breaking story. We wanted to cover it and put some insights into it. What do you have there in the lawsuit? What's it say?
Well, it appears that Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau are, of course, the headliners in a Wall Street Journal article. 11 players want to get their status back. 3 players, Taylor Gooch, Hudson Swafford, and Matt Jones, are also looking for a temporary restraining order to play in the FedEx Cup. They have obviously qualified for the FedEx Cup. The PGA Tour recently had to alter their criteria for playing in the FedEx Cup because the LIV golfers are excluded, and some of those players will not be in the top 125 who now qualify. So there's going to be a lot of legalese going in both directions. I know you wanted to comment on the timing to start.
Yeah, well, fascinating story. So to me, there's two big questions. I think we can all understand what they're trying to do. Well, they're suing. Okay, no big deal. But why? Why sue at all? And why sue now? So that's how I see it. And thinking about it just in this last hour or so, obviously we don't have their playbook at LIV Golf, but it's a strategic move in my opinion. It's not, hey, let's go sue those guys. Why not? The players are doing it, not LIV Golf. Okay. But is LIV Golf involved? I think I have to believe that it is. Would you concur, Doctor?
Initially, I don't know, for example, whether or not they'd be paying, for example, the attorney's fees. Some of the players may want to keep separate from LIV at this particular stage of the game. So I'm not sure. I don't know that the LIV is.
Right. So we have a difference of opinion there. Okay, cool. I think LIV is paying for it, and because they said they would previously, and I think they're in on it. Whether it was a player's idea and LIV agreed, or vice versa, I don't know. Certainly, it could be the former, that the players wanted to. But why does Phil Mickelson want his status back on the PGA Tour? Let's say they win. He's going to go play a bunch of PGA Tour events? No. He wants what? What is the only thing Phil Mickelson wants?
I don't know. You tell me.
Play in the majors. He wants to play in the majors. That's what they all want. All those LIV guys want to play in the majors. So thank you for playing. Sorry to tease you. So what I'm coming up with, at least right away, and I will fix it tomorrow if I need to, why sue and why now? Official world golf rankings and the majors. So my sense is you take this strategic move, first of all, if you take this move, which they were always probably planning, and do it now. Why? Because they want to get out in front of the OWGR or one of the majors or the RNA or somebody, RNA or USGA come to mind, maybe even the Masters, coming out and saying something silly like, we're changing the way that qualifications work for these majors. We're doing something that's going to hurt LIV players. Get ahead of that, because it's hard to put that back in the box once you let it out there, because you look foolish if you're, let's pick on the U.S. Open. So if the U.S. Open comes out and says, yeah, we're changing the qualifications, it's going to make it harder for these LIV players. It's hard to walk that back, because then you look stupid. So the better to get out ahead of it if you're LIV, so that you're putting those guys on notice. Everything that's going to be coming out in this lawsuit is going to be 100% applicable to what the majors are thinking about doing, with tinkering with their qualifications, and what the OWGR is doing. And if they start to tinker, the LIV guys would argue that's restrictive trade. You can't treat one guy differently than another guy because you feel like it. That's antitrust. That's discrimination. You can't do that in the marketplace. That's not fair trade. And so that's probably what this is about, in my opinion. But what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's a little simpler in the sense that they're just hedging their bets in case LIV fails. I mean, that's the overall simple aspect. They still want to have a foot in the door.
Mickelson's got his signing bonus. Those guys.
The younger guys, what are you going to do? You're a 25-year-old. You got $20 million. Who cares? You got to do something the rest of your life. You're a golfer. You don't want to be banned. You don't want to spend 10 years, your best 10 years, in the courtroom and not playing golf.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I would hope, and I do think that they all took that into consideration before they signed with LIV. Hey, this could be the last time I see the PGA Tour. I mean,
well, yeah, it's easy when you see the money, and Norman says, well, you're an independent contractor, and legally you have a leg up. However, the courts can work in some strange manners at times, as we know. So
Yeah, well, I like it. It looks like we got a debate coming right here on the show. Kinda.
Yeah, they do need to get a leg up, though. And you want to get out ahead of it. The reactionary strategy of the PGA Tour has not worked, so they do want to be ahead of the game. The bottom line is, I don't think LIV has is too involved at this stage. I think this is the players' agents, the players' managers saying, hey, you need to get, especially for Taylor, Gooch, Swafford, and Jones, you need to get back in the FedEx Cup. There's a precedent that was set with the Scottish Open. There's no reason for you not to play. You're in the prime of your career. You're not Phil Mickelson. You're not 50, however old he is.
52 now. I'll take the other side of that, and then we can hop out, because we'll certainly have to come back to talk about this again, because it's early on here. We're just speculating. I'm going to take the side of so we'll put a cheeseburger on it. I'm going to take the side that this is 100% strategic. It's happening because they want to get ahead of official world golf rankings and any of the majors coming out with a public announcement or some kind of decision that is unfavorable to the LIV players. So let's get ahead of that. We'll put our arguments out there. We're going to put it in a court. We're going to show you how this is anti-fair trade. We're going to win this in court. It's going to be all the talking heads are going to talk about it legally, and we're going to look like we're in a position of superiority, and you have no legs to stand on, OWGR and the majors. Therefore, don't even think about that's one of our favorite movie lines. Jared, you can't be thinking about what you're thinking about. You can't be thinking about doing what you're thinking about doing. So this is a warning shot to those two groups to not even think about banning or shadow banning, if you will, our players from your majors, because all our players want to play there. We don't care about your PGA Tour events at this point in the game. Yeah. So that's the side of the bet I'm taking. And I got a cheeseburger on it.
Yeah, I would say more this is the players on their own. Now, it is all strategic, but it's more the players on their own making sure they have somewhere to play in a worst-case scenario for them. And if LIV is not part of this lawsuit, they now are going to get some rulings that they can, counteract in the future. Some rulings that, okay, well, this is how the courts are looking at things in Northern California. Here's what we have to do in the future to win the game. So I think it gives them the opportunity to get a preview of what's coming for the larger lawsuits.
Yeah, well, you're sort of coming towards my way of thinking. Yes, that's why it's strategic. Yes, they're getting ahead of the OWGR and the majors, but because that's all that matters to them.
But they
only want OWGR so they can play in the majors.
Right. But this gives these individual players a chance to, in the future, if something does go wrong with the LIV League, not be beholden to their strategy and not be beholden to a singular lawsuit that holds the fate of all the players.
I'll give you that. I mean, you're saying if the Saudis pull the plug, tomorrow, and there's no more money, then they have potentially a place to go and practice their craft.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's fair. I would be, if I were the agent for any of those guys that went over to LIV, that I would be not saying that that's a backup strategy. Look, you go, it's for what you're getting today, what's guaranteed today. Maybe you'll win the $4 million first prize or some of that. So that's great. But you're going for what they're going to give you now, and that's it. You can't count on, and you can't count on going back. Maybe, but probably not. And moreover, and without even to wrap up the show, I'll say this: do you even want to go back? Would it not be relatively unpleasant, to put it nicely? You know, you're going to be looked at sideways by the people that still value that tour, PGA Tour. You're not going to get endorsements. You're not going to be applauded and at least not for a while. So maybe if you're 22, Gooch is what, 25 or something? Sure, maybe. But Taylor, come on. You're not going to be welcomed back there. Why do you want to force your way back into a company who doesn't want you? That's not a good work environment. You're not going to thrive there. It's hard enough to win golf tournaments as it is. You know, it's not going to be any fun. So that I'll kind of wrap up my comments there. But you want to close with any other additional thoughts, and we'll certainly come back to this issue.
Right, and you know, they do want to leave their options open, because you look at, like, you know, Patrick Reed's going over to get points in Asia. I don't think they want to do that. So that's why I think they're more acting as individuals, and that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we'll see. Cheeseburger on the line.
All right.
Okay, well, I am out. We'll come back to this issue as we learn more or have more, you know, insights into it.
Excellent. All right, Dark Star's out.
That's all for this video. For Dr. Darkstar and me, thanks for watching. This is a show about finding logical conclusions, and we appreciate you coming along with us. We'll be adding episodes as fast as we can. There's certainly no shortage of things going on in this world.